Hello everyone, back to you in today's second video. We're going to have a look at the weather for next week to 10 days for today's second video. This will take us to around the 6th of July. So we've got the very hot weather at the moment, and it's been really dry, of course, throughout the whole of June as well. So we did be sending a 30-day ensemble look ahead earlier on today. And that's painting the picture. We start off very hot and dry for the northwest of Europe and really cool and wet in the southeast. And we gradually see this ridge has brought us this exceptionally dry June. We gradually see it being eroded and pushed back into the eastern part of Europe. It takes a very long time to do it. So by the time we get through to the middle and second half of July, we're back into what seems to be a rather cooler and slightly more unsettled Atlantic flow. However, the shorter range models, and I'll show you those in a moment, the GFS and the ECM, they are trying to break down this high pressure quite quickly now next week and change the pattern into a more unsettled westerly type pattern. So it might be a bit progressive in doing that. Very often when you've been in a high pressure dominated scenario, and this is most evident in winter, when we have a cold spell of weather in the winter, the models will try to be very progressive in breaking it down and do it too quickly. It's possible that's what's going on this time, and the 30-day ECM ensembles will be closer to what actually happens, which is that it takes a longer time to push a ridge over to the east of Europe. It is also possible we might have a quick breakdown. Sometimes when you get a very dry and hot June, it can very quickly sort of break down through July and into August. We call that a front-loaded summer. So you never quite know. Early July is often a period where it is a bit more unsettled anyway. So even in the hotter and drier summers, early July can be one of the more unsettled periods of the summer, if you see what I mean. It's one of those sort of singularities. The first week of July often does tend to be a little bit unsettled. So it's too early to say whether this change that we are seeing in model output for next week, it's too early to say whether that is going to be a consistent change, going to last, or whether it's just a temporary blip and we'll get ourselves back to high pressure and hot conditions by the time we get further into July. Anyway, I'll talk you through everything that's going on in a second. Before I get on with that, though, just to say a big thank you to our latest donor for gas ovens. So we've had a donation from Jeff Egan. A big thank you to Jeff for becoming the latest donor for Gas Ovens. If you would like to become a donor or a patron for Gas Ovens, we've got two options. So you can make a one-off donation via the Gas Ovens PayPal page. I'm on the Gas Ovens PayPal page right now. Alternatively, you can become a patron for Gas Ovens. We've got 18 patrons so far. Would love to get that up to 20 patrons if we can. So the link to both Patreon and also Gas Ovens PayPal in the description box of YouTube, linking to both of those pages at Gas Ovens website as well. It's helping us to pay for the website, helping us to keep all of the content completely free of charge as you want it and as you need. We are primarily ads funded and will be remaining ads funded, but just a little bit of an extra to help us pay with some pay some of the overheads, if you like. So a big thank you to Jeff for becoming the latest patron. The latest donor, I should say, for Gas Ovens, and a big thank you to all of our patrons and donors as well. Right, let's get on with the video then and start off having a look at the latest observations from XC Weather. This is xcweather.co.uk. Really warm afternoon, hot afternoon, and the highest temperatures are actually in central western parts of the country. So, for example, we've got Senny Bridge in Wales already up to 26 degrees. Shobdon is up to 27. Lake Vyrnwy at 25. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce that, but that weather station in Wales is up to 29 degrees already, into the mid-80s Fahrenheit. It's only the middle of the day, so that's got further to rise. I wouldn't be surprised if 32 isn't recorded there, around 19 Fahrenheit. Over on the eastern side, it's not as hot, actually. Bedford and Cranfield are both at 24 degrees. Wittering in the north, in the East Midlands at 23 degrees. And going further east of that, Coningsby Royal Air Force is at 22, and over towards the east coast, just 14 at Donanook. So it's definitely cooler in the east. If you don't like the heat, get onto the east coast. That's the message there. Hottest temperatures are through central and western parts of the country. As I say, I reckon 32 degrees is achievable today, 90 Fahrenheit. Right, so these are the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. Big change appearing now on this ensemble chart compared to what we've seen over recent days. We're looking at Keighley in the north of England today. So the red line here is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Keighley. And there's the heat wave. There's the hot weather lasting through the rest of the week and into the weekend. But you'll notice over the weekend and into next week, the temperatures are sliding. So by the time we get through to the end of the first week of July, which is this period just here, we are back to average, and possibly through the second week of July, possibly hinting at going a little bit cooler than average. It's been a very long time since we've seen that. It's a long way off. It's right at the very extended range of the GFS and its ensembles. But that is a big change. It's showing up there over the next 2 weeks. And not only in temperature, also in terms of precipitation as well. So with the heat wave, we get all of this dry weather through the rest of the week and into the weekend. That's Sunday, 1st of July, and at Keighley it's still dry to Sunday. But look at that, after that, through next week, the precipitation spikes are coming back, and they're coming back much more so than anything we've seen for at least a month. So, not only are the temperatures lowering next week quite substantially, we're also seeing signs of a much more unsettled weather pattern setting up as well, with quite a bit of rain. Remember, this is for the north of England, so down in the southeast probably won't be as wet as that. But it certainly is indicative that the GFS this morning, this has been gradually creeping up on us over the last day or so, but particularly this morning, the GFS is really starting now to go with this idea of turning a lot more unsettled and cooler next week. It might be going over the top with it, but I can only show you what the model is showing, and certainly that's what the ensembles are showing. The surface temperatures at Keighley looking like this. He's undercooked the temperatures quite a bit. So at the moment, and for the next few days, it's saying low 20s, but actually it's going to be into mid to upper 20s. But then you see we are definitely getting a slide in the temperature there as we go into this, the end of the first week and into the second week of July. So cooling down with the temperature and turning more unsettled through the early part of July is what the GFS ensembles are indicating today. Temperature anomalies for the next week, 26th of June to the 4th of July. They're coming out substantially warmer than average for the UK and Ireland. Most parts of northern and western Europe are coming out warmer than average. The coolest temperature anomalies in the southeast and also for western parts of Russia. Precipitation anomalies looking like that, and very gradually these are beginning to turn just a little bit more unsettled now. So you remember a couple of days ago when we looked at these, the whole of the UK and Ireland was covered in bright red colours, which is substantially drier than average precipitation anomalies. Now they're returning to average. So this is telling us that rainfall levels are creeping up, and it is starting to pick up on a change in the weather pattern. It's based on the GFS model, this. So if the GFS model is wrong, then these anomaly charts will be wrong. But definitely the GFS wants to go in that direction of a cooler and more unsettled phase. So let's have a look at the charts and see how this happens. So we're starting off on Friday with high pressure on the latest run of the GFS, still dominating the weather, sitting just to our east and northeast, bringing in these very warm to hot easterly winds into Saturday. Dry and hot conditions, but notice we've got this thundery low around the Bay of Biscay. Keep an eye on what that's doing, because that low pressure starts to move northwards. So by 6 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, that thundery low is just down to southwest country. The high pressure to our northeast, the block, is beginning to recede back to Scandinavia, and this thundery low could well be pushing up thunderstorms on Sunday from France and Biscay. Upper air temperatures are still hot on Sunday, and it will be very humid with that as well. Now, Monday next week temporarily sees this low pressure actually starting to be pushed back a little bit towards our southwest. But by Tuesday, again, it's having another go. So this is a week's time. Tuesday, 3rd of July. And that thundery low is having another go at moving up from the southwest. So by the middle of next week, we actually have an area of low pressure, proper area of low pressure, sitting over top of the country. That would initially bring thunderstorms and then probably a cool down in the air as the air starts coming across the Atlantic. And it will also bring showers or longer spells of rain as well. So after a month of dry weather, no measurable rainfall for some parts of the country through the whole of June, early July breaks that sort of mini drought. And then we go to the 10th day, so this is day 10, Friday 6th of July, where we're beginning to revert to more of a westerly flow as low pressure starts to head in from off the Atlantic. And so this takes us into what is genuinely quite an unsettled spell. By Sunday the 8th of July, low pressure is moving in off the Atlantic. It's much, much cooler. And it's a lot more unsettled as well. Let's show you the upper air temperatures. And you'll see they are substantially cooler, to say the least, compared to what we've got right now. There's the upper air temperatures right now. There's the upper air temperatures by Sunday, the 8th of July. A real change in the weather pattern. I can show you where the jet stream is right now. So there's the jet stream way to our north, up towards Iceland and the north of Scandinavia. If I show you where the jet stream is at 300 hours, though, that's where it is, and you see the change that has happened. The jet stream has plunged southwards, and that brings that cooler and more unsettled weather with it. Again, the model might be going over top with this. It might be going over top, but that's what it's showing in its latest run. East Central looks like that. Hot, dry conditions on Friday. And then into next weekend's hot and dry for Saturday. Here comes that thundery low beginning to move up from Biscay and France on Sunday. That's starting to push northward. So by Monday, we're under this thundery low pressure. There'll be thunderstorms moving north through the weekend into next week, followed by showers, longer spells of rain. And then through the course of next week, it gradually turns more unsettled. Winds are turning into the northwest. There's the upper air temperatures. They're looking much, much cooler. Look at that. Real difference with the upper air temperatures at day 10 compared to where the upper air temperatures are right now. Remember on Sunday, I talked about those cool and average sea surface temperature anomalies that are in the North Atlantic at the moment. If we do get the wind into the west, it will be rather cool because of those cold sea surface temperature anomalies. Finally, I'll just finish up with the accumulated maximum temperature chart from the Weather Outlook. So have a look at the Weather Outlook, find a link on the links page. So this is the maximum 5-day maximum temperature forecast from the GFS model. And again, we're in those red colours. It's going to be a hot 5 days to come, to say the least. If you have a look at the 10-day, actually still hot up to Tuesday, 26th of June. Remember, that is an accumulated it's an accumulated maximum temperature chart. So certainly in terms of an anomaly over the next week, we're going to see significantly sort of hot conditions coming up. Precipitation, though, is more end likely. This is the 5-day accumulated precipitation forecast based on the 6 o'clock run of the GFS. Very dry in the next 5 days for most parts of the country, but down across northern France and into the Channel, you see precipitations creeping up there. But for most parts of the country in the next 5 days, we're at 0 millimetres. No precipitation whatsoever. But look at the 10-day, and it's quite a change. We start to see all areas getting precipitation, and some places are going up to between 30 and 40 millimetres of precipitation. That's particularly for northern England, also for parts of Scotland and down to the southwest of England and northern France as well. It's not suggesting too much yet into the southeast. Bear in mind, a lot of that is thundery stuff, thunderstorms, and so it will be localised initially. Maybe later on you could start thinking about more general rain, bands of rain off the Atlantic, but initially it will be localised downpours via thunderstorms. So quite a change coming up if the models are right in the next few days. We're going to keep this hot weather, heat wave conditions continue up to the weekend. Sunday starts bringing thunder up from the south if models are right, and then next week it gradually turns more unsettled and cooler. There is uncertainty about this, as ever with a pattern change, so we'll have to keep you updated. But that's how it's looking today. Big changes possible for next week. Right, that's all for now. Thanks for watching.